Question 6. Question 6 reads, explain why hydrogen gas is collected by upward delivery. Explain why hydrogen gas is collected by upward delivery. A. It is heavier than air. B. It easily displaces air. C. It is lighter than air. D. It is insoluble in water. Hydrogen gas is less dense than air, reason why it is collected by upward delivery. So it is just because hydrogen gas is less heavier than air is. So air will settle at the bottom of the container where they are in, while hydrogen gas settles on top. We collect then the hydrogen gas by upward delivery. So our option C, which says it is lighter than air, is the correct option, which says C, it is lighter than air. We continue with question 7. Question 7 reads, which of the following anions will form a precipitate with barium chloride in acid medium? Which of the following anions will form a precipitate with barium chloride in an acid medium? A. Sulfate ion. B. Carbonate ion. C. Sulfide ion. D. Nitrate ion. I read the question again. Which of the following anions will form a precipitate with barium chloride in an acid medium? We discover that both C and A will form precipitates with barium. Let me take down the ion so that you see them. A is the sulfate ion. This is A. B is the carbonate ion. C is the sulfide ion, and D is the nitrate ion. So these are the ions that I'm talking about, and the question is asking which of these anions will form a white precipitate with barium chloride. So we discover that both A and C will form white precipitates with barium chloride, but the exception now is this sulfide ion is insoluble in an acid medium, whereas A is very much soluble in an acid medium. So this tends to dissociate in the reaction, whereas this remains constant in that reaction. That brings us to A as our right option. Question 8. How many molecules are there in 4.5 grams of water? How many molecules are there in 4.5 grams of water? So we have to calculate. Our mass was given as 5 grams. And we know that the relative molecular mass of water is 18. So this 18 was given in the question as the relative molecular mass of water. That's why we are using it. So the question was asking us to get the number of molecules, and we all know from the notes that was given to us, we all know that the number of molecules is given by number of moles, which is small n, times Avogadro's constant, capital L. So if we substitute for our number of moles and Avogadro's constant, we discover that number of moles is mass all over molar mass times Avogadro's constant. Our mass was given as 4.5. and our molar mass is 18. And the value for Avogadro's constant is 6.02 times 10 to the power 23. So if we use our calculators to punch and get the answer, we'll be having an answer of 1.5 times 10 to the power 23 molecules. And that takes us to option D as the correct answer. Question 9. Identify the gas that naturally makes rainwater slightly acidic. Identify the gas that naturally makes rainwater slightly acidic. Option A, sulfur dioxide. B. So, option A, sulfur dioxide. Option B, carbon dioxide. Option C, hydrogen sulfide. Option D, nitrogen dioxide. So these are the options that were presented. And if we look at these options from what we were told in our notes, we will discover that A and B are the only two acidic oxides that are present among the options. So we already eliminate option C and option D. We no longer consider them because they are not acidic oxides. Now, which between A and B, which is the acidic oxide that makes rainwater acidic? We discover that we have this sulfur dioxide, which is the acidic component of acid rain. That brings us to option A as our correct answer. Question 10 reads thus: select a diabasic acid from the list below. Select a diabasic acid from the list below. A. Option A, hydrochloric acid. Option B, nitric acid. Option C, sulfuric acid. And option D, ethanoic acid. So these are the acids that are present, and the question is asking us to get a diabasic acid from the option that is given. The first thing we have to know is what a diabasic acid is all about. So to be diabasic simply means you give away 2 hydrogen ions when you are in solution. That is what it means for you to be diabasic as an acid. It means you have the capability, you have the ability to give away 2 hydrogen ions in solution. So if we discover A has just 1 hydrogen ion, B has just 1, then C has a total of 4 hydrogen ions that it can give out during reactions. So it brings us to our option C, which is the correct option because it has 2 hydrogen ions that it can give out in reactions. So it brings us to that option C, which is our correct answer.